If you're over 60, this may shock you. But refrigerating certain everyday foods could be silently harming your health. Over 99% of seniors do this without realizing the consequences. But science is starting to tell a very different story. From dangerous chemical changes to loss of essential nutrients, and even the promotion of harmful bacteria, the way we store our food matters more than we think. These changes can quietly affect your gut, your heart, and even your brain. And according to some experts, the overuse of refrigeration may be contributing to the rise in chronic illnesses among older adults. In this video, we'll uncover 9 foods that seniors should never refrigerate and explain the science behind each one. Every claim is backed by scientific research, and you'll also get practical tips on how to store these foods safely without putting your health at risk. Tell us your age and where you're watching from in the comments, and we'll reply with personalized advice for your region and lifestyle. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more science-backed tips on aging healthily and living your best life after 60. Let's dive in. 1. Tomatoes. Why seniors should never refrigerate them. You might think refrigerating tomatoes keeps them fresh, but if you're over 60, this could be a silent mistake costing you both flavor and nutrition. When tomatoes are stored below 54 degrees Fahrenheit, something irreversible happens. They shut down hundreds of genes responsible for flavor and nutrition. Even if you later return them to room temperature, these genes stay off. What you're left with is not a healthy fruit, but a tasteless red water balloon. But it goes deeper than flavor. Tomatoes are one of the richest sources of lycopene, a powerful antioxidant known to protect the heart and reduce the risk of several cancers, especially prostate and digestive cancers common in seniors. Refrigeration can reduce lycopene levels by up to 65%, and the cold also destroys the very enzymes your body needs to absorb what little lycopene remains. In other words, the antioxidant may still be there, but your body can no longer use it. Then there's texture. Cold temperatures cause ice crystals to form inside the tomato's cell walls. These crystals rupture the delicate structure, leaving your tomato mealy, grainy, and watery. So how should you store them? Keep your tomatoes at room temperature, ideally between 55 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Store them stem side down to prevent moisture and bacteria from seeping in. Avoid plastic bags. They trap ethylene gas, which speeds up rotting. Instead, place them in a breathable bowl or paper bag, out of direct sunlight but exposed to gentle indirect light to help preserve nutrients. Ripe tomatoes should be eaten within 3 to 5 days. If you have too many, don't refrigerate them. Cook them into a sauce. In fact, cooked tomatoes provide more absorbable lycopene, and freezing that sauce helps preserve it even better. For seniors, this is more than just a food tip. Tomatoes offer critical antioxidants for protecting the heart, brain, and immune system. Storing them right helps you keep those benefits and avoid the silent damage of cold storage. 2. Bread. Why refrigeration destroys it faster than you think. If you're putting your bread in the fridge to keep it fresh, it may surprise you to learn that you're actually making it go stale 6 times faster. Here's why. Cold temperatures speed up a process called starch retrogradation. This is when the starch molecules in bread reorganize and push out moisture, turning your soft, fluffy loaf into something dry, dense, and crumbly. It's the #1 reason refrigerated bread loses its pleasant texture and begins to feel like rubber or cardboard after just a day or two. And it's not just the texture. Those rich, yeasty aromas and subtle flavors you enjoy in fresh bread, refrigeration breaks down the compounds responsible for them. So you're left with a loaf that smells flat and tastes like nothing. If you'll eat your bread within 3 to 5 days, the best option is to store it at room temperature. Use a paper bag or a ventilated bread box, something that allows gentle airflow. This helps maintain just enough moisture without encouraging mold. But if you won't finish it within a week, freezing is your best friend. Unlike refrigeration, freezing slows all deterioration. Ice crystals form so quickly that they preserve the bread's structure, texture, and taste. And here's a tip. Toast frozen bread directly from the freezer, no thawing needed. This seals in flavor and revives the softness better than letting it defrost slowly, which often makes it soggy. Now, some people refrigerate bread to avoid mold. And yes, the fridge can slow down mold growth slightly, but the trade-off is poor texture, poor taste, and faster nutrient loss. If mold prevention is your goal, freezing is far more effective without ruining quality. For seniors, eating stale, dense bread can also cause digestive discomfort, especially if you already deal with sensitive digestion or constipation. Proper storage preserves not only the taste, but also the nutritional benefits your body needs. So remember, room temperature for short term, freezer for long term. Skip the fridge. It does more harm than good to your bread and potentially to your health. 3. Garlic. Why cold storage can turn this superfood toxic. Garlic is known as one of nature's most powerful natural medicines, especially for heart health, immune support, and even reducing inflammation. But when you store it in the fridge, you're not just reducing its benefits, you might be creating a health risk. Cold, moist environments, like your refrigerator, encourage the growth of mold and even dangerous Clostridium botulinum bacteria, especially when garlic is stored in oil. This bacterium can lead to botulism, a rare but serious illness that affects the nervous system and can be life-threatening. Even when not stored in oil, refrigeration causes garlic to sprout prematurely, which not only changes the flavor, making it bitter and sharp, but also reduces its allicin content, the very compound responsible for its health benefits. Allicin is what gives garlic its anti-inflammatory, blood pressure lowering, and cholesterol reducing power, essential benefits for seniors. But once sprouted, that allicin starts to disappear, leaving you with a much weaker version of what once was a nutritional powerhouse. Instead, store garlic bulbs in a cool, dry, and well-ventilated place, like a mesh basket or a ceramic garlic keeper on your kitchen counter. Avoid plastic bags or sealed containers, which trap moisture and lead to mold. Whole garlic can last up to 3 to 4 weeks at room temperature when stored properly. Once you've broken a bulb and started using the cloves, try to use them within 10 days for maximum flavor and health impact. And please, never store garlic in oil at home unless it's been acidified and preserved under strict safety guidelines. Homemade versions, especially when refrigerated, are a well-documented cause of botulism outbreaks. Garlic is too powerful and too essential to be wasted or misused. For seniors looking to protect their heart and immune system naturally, storing garlic the right way can make all the difference. 4. Onions, the hidden dangers of refrigerating this staple food. Onions are a kitchen essential, full of antioxidants, fiber, and sulfur compounds that help regulate blood sugar and reduce inflammation. But when you store them in the fridge, you may be undoing all of those benefits and creating other problems instead. Cold temperatures combined with moisture cause onions to become soft and mushy. Why? Because refrigeration alters their internal cell structure and accelerates water absorption, especially when they're kept in plastic bags or sealed containers. Even worse, this damp, cold environment encourages mold growth and can lead to contamination of nearby foods. Onions also release strong sulfuric compounds, which in the fridge can mix with moisture and create a sour or musty odor that spreads throughout your fridge. For seniors, onions are especially valuable. They support digestion, circulation, and detoxification. But those benefits are tied to their freshness and sulfur content, which break down quickly when onions are stored improperly. Here's how to store onions right. Keep whole, unpeeled onions in a cool, dry, dark place with plenty of air circulation, like a mesh basket or a pantry shelf. Never store them in plastic, and avoid sealed containers that trap moisture. And here's something many people don't know. Don't store onions next to potatoes. The gases they each emit cause both to spoil faster, doubling your food waste and reducing the nutritional value. Now, if you've already cut an onion and want to store the rest, that's the exception. Place the sliced portion in a sealed glass container and refrigerate it, but use it within 2 to 3 days to avoid off flavors and nutrient loss. Onions can be one of the most health-supportive ingredients in your diet, but only when stored properly. Keep them dry, dark, and cool, not cold, and you'll preserve both their taste and their powerful health effects. 5. Honey. Why refrigeration ruins nature's perfect food. Honey has been treasured for thousands of years, not just as natural sweetener, but as a healing food packed with antioxidants, enzymes, and antimicrobial compounds. But putting it in the fridge? That's one of the worst things you can do. When honey is refrigerated, it crystallizes rapidly. This means it becomes thick, cloudy, and grainy, often forming hard sugar crystals that make it difficult to scoop or spread. But texture isn't the only problem. Cold temperatures break down the natural enzymes in honey, including glucose oxidase, which helps honey produce hydrogen peroxide, its natural defense against bacteria. That's what gives honey its antibacterial and wound-healing properties. For seniors especially, raw honey can support the immune system and even soothe sore throat or cough. But when refrigerated, the loss of enzymes and beneficial compounds makes it nutritionally weaker and potentially no better than processed sugar. The truth is, honey never needs refrigeration. In fact, it's naturally shelf-stable for decades, even centuries, thanks to its low moisture content and acidity, which prevent bacterial growth on their own. Store honey at room temperature, ideally between 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit, in a tightly sealed glass jar. Keep it in a dark cupboard or pantry away from sunlight or heat sources like the stove. If your honey has already crystallized, don't throw it away. Just place the jar in warm water, not boiling, and gently stir until it returns to its smooth texture. Avoid microwaving it, which can destroy the very nutrients you're trying to preserve. For seniors looking to support immunity, soothe inflammation, or simply enjoy a healthy natural sweetener, honey is a gift. Just remember, the fridge is not where it belongs. 6. Bananas, the chilling mistake that strips away their nutrients. Bananas are a go-to fruit for many seniors, rich in potassium, easy to digest, and perfect for breakfast or a midday snack. But putting them in the fridge, that simple habit can erase much of their health value. When exposed to cold, bananas undergo a process called chilling injury. Their enzymes stop working properly and their cells start to break down. The result? Blackened peels, mushy texture, and a loss of flavor. More importantly, refrigeration slows down the natural ripening process, but it doesn't stop it. Instead, it interferes with the production of antioxidants and reduces levels of dopamine and serotonin precursors, which are vital for mood and brain health in seniors. Bananas are also one of the best sources of potassium, a mineral that supports heart function, nerve health, and blood pressure regulation. But refrigeration can cause uneven ripening, leading to potassium imbalance and making the fruit harder to digest. Storing bananas in the fridge when they're still green stops them from ripening fully, and when they're ripe, cold temperatures can make the flesh brown and overly soft while stripping away key nutrients. Keep bananas at room temperature, ideally hanging from a hook or place in a fruit bowl away from other ethylene-producing fruits like apples. If you want to slow ripening slightly, wrap the stems in foil or plastic wrap to reduce gas release. Now, if you have too many ripe bananas, don't refrigerate, freeze them. Peel, slice, and store them in a freezer bag. Frozen bananas are perfect for smoothies and maintain much of their potassium and fiber content. For older adults, bananas are more than just a snack. They're a brain and heart-healthy food. But to get those benefits, remember, cold kills the goodness. Keep them warm, keep them whole, and let them ripen naturally. 7. Potatoes. Why the fridge turns this staple into a health risk. Potatoes are a dietary staple, comforting, filling, and rich in fiber, vitamin C, and potassium. But for seniors, refrigerating them can quietly turn this healthy food into a source of health risk. When stored in cold temperatures, the starch in potatoes turns into sugar, a process known as cold-induced sweetening. And while that may sound harmless, it's not. When these sugar-rich potatoes are later baked, roasted, or fried, the sugars combine with amino acids to form acrylamide, a potentially harmful compound linked to nerve damage and even cancer, particularly dangerous for seniors with weakened systems. Refrigeration also changes the texture and flavor of potatoes, making them grainy, off-colored, or too sweet, especially noticeable in mashed or baked dishes. Store potatoes in a cool, dry, dark place, like a pantry or cellar, ideally between 45 and 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Use a paper or mesh bag to allow air circulation, and always keep them away from onions, which cause both to spoil faster. When stored properly, potatoes remain a gut-friendly, blood pressure-supporting food that can be part of a healthy diet. But in the fridge, they become a silent source of sugar and toxins. 8. Avocados. Why cold stops them from reaching their peak. Avocados are known as one of the healthiest fats you can eat, great for brain function, joint support, and heart health. But if you're refrigerating unripe avocados, you're freezing their potential. Refrigeration halts the ripening process by slowing down the fruit's natural ethylene production. This leaves you with rock-hard avocados that never fully ripen, and when they finally soften, it's usually because they're going bad, not ripening properly. This incomplete ripening means fewer monounsaturated fats, less absorbable vitamin E, and a reduction in glutathione, a critical antioxidant that helps reduce cellular aging, especially in seniors. If you refrigerate ripe avocados, they may brown quickly, turn watery, and lose that smooth, creamy texture that makes them so nutritious and easy to digest. Always let avocados ripen fully at room temperature, ideally on the counter in a paper bag if you want to speed things up. Once ripe, you can refrigerate them for 1 to 2 days only to slow spoilage, but not before they're ready. For seniors, avocados are a source of healthy fats, anti-inflammatory compounds, and brain-supportive nutrients, but refrigerating them too early blocks all of that. Let them ripen, then enjoy them at their nutritional peak. 9. Coffee. Why the fridge steals the flavor and upsets digestion. For many seniors, a warm cup of coffee is a comforting ritual. But if you're storing your coffee in the fridge, thinking it'll keep it fresh longer, you might be doing the exact opposite. Coffee is highly hygroscopic, which means it absorbs moisture and odors from its surroundings. Inside the fridge, it soaks up smells from nearby foods and humidity from the air. The result? Your coffee loses its aroma, flavor, and freshness and turns stale or even bitter. The rich oils in ground coffee degrade quickly when exposed to cold, moist conditions. Worse, stale or poorly stored coffee can become irritating to the stomach, especially for seniors who are more sensitive to acidity. The cold-induced chemical breakdown can increase the release of acidic compounds during brewing. Instead of the fridge, store your coffee, whether ground or whole bean, in an airtight, opaque container in a cool, dry cabinet. Keep it away from light, air, and humidity. Want the best flavor and the least irritation? Grind fresh beans just before brewing and use clean, filtered water. Your daily cup will taste better and treat your digestion more gently. Coffee can be a helpful pleasure, rich in antioxidants and even helpful for cognitive alertness. But the fridge doesn't preserve it, it spoils it. Keep your beans dry and dark and let the flavor shine. As we've seen, not all foods belong in the fridge. In fact, for older adults, how we store our food can make a big difference in taste, digestion, and even nutrient absorption. From tomatoes that lose their cancer-fighting lycopene to coffee that turns acidic and irritating, refrigeration sometimes does more harm than good. So the next time you're cleaning your fridge or putting away groceries, remember, a little knowledge about food storage isn't just practical, it's powerful. It helps you preserve nutrients, enjoy better flavor, and protect your long-term health. Taking care of your food is just another way of taking care of yourself, and you deserve meals that nourish not just your body, but your joy.